Hi guys, it's me Kanak and I'm back with another video. This time I'm going to be reading The Three Spinners. So let's start. Once upon a time there was a girl called Arabella who could not use a spinning wheel. Every time she tried, her thread would break or become knotted and tangled. This made her mother very angry. "You are such a useless girl," she would shout at her. "Why can't you spin a beautiful flaxen thread like your cousins?" You see, her mother was ashamed of her because in those days all girls knew how to spin. Arabella would reply, "I hate spinning, mother. My fingers are too small and spinning hurts them so much. I cannot do it." Then she would throw herself down, sobbing and crying pitifully. One day the queen was passing by in a carriage, and she heard Arabella crying. She was so alarmed by the sobbing that she stopped the carriage, came into the house, and asked the mother why her daughter was in such distress. Too ashamed to say that her daughter was unable to spin, she answered, "Oh, your majesty, my daughter loves to spin. She is only happy when she is spinning. But sadly, there is no flax to spin, and I cannot afford to buy any. There is nothing I like better than to hear the humming of a spinning wheel. Let me take your daughter with me to the palace. I have plenty of flax, and she can spin to her heart's delight." The mother had no choice but to let her daughter go. When they had arrived at the castle, Arabella was shown 3 rooms piled from top to bottom with the finest flax. "Now spin me this flax," ordered the queen. "When you have spun it beautifully into thread, you may marry the prince, my eldest son." Arabella had charmed the queen with her gentle ways and delicate appearance. The queen believed that she would make a wonderful bride for Prince Leon. Poor Arabella was terrified. She could not have spun the flax had she sat there day and night for 100 years. When she was left alone, she wept and did nothing. The third day, the queen came, and when she saw that no flax had been spun, she was surprised. Arabella explained that she was so sad at having left her home that she was not able to begin. This satisfied the queen, but as she left, she said, "Now you must start spinning for me tomorrow." Arabella was left alone and did not know what to do or where to turn for help. She began to cry. How could she escape this impossible task? She looked out of the window, and there she saw 3 strange women coming towards her. The first one had big, broad, flat foot. The second one had a large lower lip that hung down to her chin. The third one had a flat, fat thumb. The 3 women looked at the frightened and tearful Arabella and asked her what was the matter. Arabella told them what had happened. They offered to help her. "If you will call us your cousins," they said, "we shall spin all the flax for you. But you must promise to call us your cousins, not be ashamed of us, and invite us to sit at your wedding table." "With all my heart," she answered. "Please come in and start right away." Arabella led them to the first room filled with flax. The 3 women sat down at the spinning wheel and set about their spinning. Arabella was amazed at how fast they worked. The first one pulled the thread and pedaled the wheel with her big broad, flat foot. The second one licked the thread with a large lower lip, and then the third one twisted and pressed it with her flat, fat thumb. Soon they had spun all the flax into beautiful fine flaxen thread. Then they began to work on the second room, which was very soon empty, and finally so was the third. When the job was done, the three strange women said goodbye. "Now, Arabelle," they said, "remember what you have promised us, and it will bring you good luck." Arabella thanked them from the bottom of her heart and said that she would never forget their kindness. When the Queen arrived, Arabella showed her the beautifully spun flaxen thread. The Queen was overjoyed and praised her for her fine work. Arabella was introduced to Prince Lewin, and they immediately fell in love. So the royal wedding was announced. Did Arabella forget her promise? No, she did not. She asked if her 3 dear cousins would be invited to the wedding. "Certainly," replied the Queen. "Why not? Ever would I say no?" Arabella thanked her and sent out the invitations. One day on the royal wedding, there was great excitement. The feast at the palace began, and when the three strange women entered, Arabella greeted them, saying, "Welcome, my dearest cousins. Please come and sit beside us at our table." The cousins joined the wedding party, but Prince Leon was shocked by their appearance and asked the first, "Why have you got such a big, broad, flat foot?" "From peddling a spinning wheel," she replied. Then he asked the second, "Why have you such a large lower lip?" "From licking the thread," she answered. To the third he asked, "Why have you such a flat, fat thumb?" The third put her thumb in the air and exclaimed, "From twisting and pressing the thread." "Good heavens!" thought the prince. He then took hold of his bride's delicate hand and looked into her sweet, gentle face. "My lovely bride must never ever again use a spinning wheel as long as she lives." Arabella glanced at her cousin and, realizing her good fortune, smiled to herself. I think her mother would have been proud of her, don't you? After all, spinning is not for everyone. Thank you for being very